In the quiet evening, under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha sat peacefully, his presence calming the restless air around him. A troubled disciple approached, his shoulders slumped under the weight of unseen burdens. His eyes clouded with despair and uncertainty. "Master," the disciple began, his voice trembling, "I have tried and failed countless times. My heart is heavy with sorrow and doubt." The Buddha looked at him with compassion, his gaze steady, his silence offering more solace than words ever could. "Why do you carry the weight alone?" Buddha asked gently. "What is it that causes your suffering to grow so deep?" The disciple sank to his knees, tears streaming. "I work hard but find no meaning. I strive but feel endless emptiness within." The Buddha extended a hand, guiding the disciple to sit beside him. "Your struggle arises from your resistance," he said. "When you fight the current, the river grows fierce," Buddha explained. "Yet, when you surrender, the river carries you gently." The disciple frowned, his face etched with confusion. "Cultivate this stillness daily. I often feel overwhelmed." "Master," I admitted, the weight of my burden spilling forth. "Resilience is born of surrender, not defiance," Buddha said. "Like the leaf, flow with the wind, yet remain grounded in truth." The disciple tilted his head in thought, gazing at the leaf swaying gently in the breeze, anchored to its branch. "But, Master," he asked, "how can we find strength when everything feels hopeless and the path ahead seems impossible to tread?" The Buddha pointed to the earth beneath them. "But, Master," I protested, "what if the farmer has already squandered the seasons past, letting weeds take root in his field?" Buddha rested his hands gently on his knees, a faint smile playing upon his lips. "Even weeds," he said, "can be transformed into fertile soil, if one labors with care and patience." The disciple closed his eyes, breathing deeply, the words resonating like ripples spreading through the surface of his weary soul. "Master, what if I fail and my hopes are shattered? What if disappointment consumes me entirely? How do I continue?" The Buddha lifted his gaze to the stars above. "Failure is the shadow cast by hope. Yet even shadows exist because of light. Do not fear failure," Buddha advised. "Master," I asked, my heart heavy with uncertainty, "how can I repay those harmed and heal the wounds I caused?" The Buddha smiled gently, his presence radiating calm, as though his entire being embodied the lessons he imparted. "Actions of harm," he explained, "cannot be undone, but intentions of kindness and efforts toward reconciliation create new ripples of good." I realized that his wisdom was both timeless and ever-present, guiding not only me but all who sought it. The grove seemed to hum with a new vitality, as though the trees themselves bore witness to the light of his teachings. "The struggles you face are mirrors of the challenges within all beings. Your pain is part of the great tapestry that binds us," he continued, "a thread connecting the infinite lives around you. When you grow tired of the weight," Buddha said, "remember, you are carried by the same truth that sustains the universe." The disciple opened his eyes, his tears falling more freely, yet his heart felt lighter with each passing moment of acceptance. He looked at the Buddha with gratitude, his breath steady, his mind quiet. As the storm within began to recede, the Buddha smiled, his presence radiating calmness that filled the air like the first light breaking through the night. "Master, I understand now," the disciple said. "Surrender is not weakness. It is the path to strength, peace, and true wisdom." The Buddha placed his hands together in prayer and bowed his head. "You have found the beginning of truth," he replied. As the moon rose, illuminating the land with its soft glow, the disciple sat beside the Buddha, no longer alone in his burden. Together, they shared the quiet of the evening, the serenity of surrender embracing the disciple's heart like the universe itself. Buddha's voice carried a calm resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very earth. as if the world itself listened. You, each of you, he said, are seeds planted in the soil of existence. Master, the disciple said, his voice quivering, my mind is a whirlwind of thoughts. Peace eludes me no matter how I try. The Buddha gestured for the disciple to sit and placed his hand over the bowl, shielding it from the wind. Observe this bowl of water, the Buddha began. His voice calm, its surface trembles, distorted by the slightest breeze around. The disciple nodded, watching the ripples dance across the water, obscuring the reflection of the trees and the sky. The mind is like this water, the Buddha continued. When agitated, it cannot reflect truth clearly. It becomes restless and turbulent. Master, the disciple asked, how can I still my mind? Each attempt seems only to stir it further into chaos. The Buddha removed his hand, leaving the bowl untouched. Stillness is not achieved through force, he said. It comes through understanding. To silence the winds that stir your mind, you must first understand them. Seek not to fight but to observe. The disciple tilted his head, his brow furrowed in confusion. How can I observe what I cannot control, Master? The winds come unbidden. The Buddha smiled gently. The winds of thought arise from fear, desire, and attachment. Acknowledge them without clinging, and they pass. The Buddha stopped and gazed at the man with compassion, his eyes calm yet piercing. Traveler, the Buddha said softly, you seem burdened. The disciple closed his eyes, attempting to visualize the process, but his thoughts continued to wander, resisting his efforts. Master, he said, frustrated, my mind refuses to quiet. I am consumed by worry over losing them. The Buddha gestured for the man to sit, his movements as fluid as the wind rustling through the trees. Consider the sun and the moon, Buddha said. Do they strain to rise and set, or do they follow their nature? Stillness, too, is your nature, he continued. It does not arise from struggle but from letting go and being present. The disciple sighed deeply, his body relaxing slightly as the weight of his striving began to lift from his shoulders. Master, he said, what if the winds are too strong, and the storm within overwhelms me? How can I endure? The Buddha picked up a small stone and gently placed it in the bowl, watching it settle at the bottom. Strength lies in grounding yourself, Buddha explained. But these possessions, he protested, are all I have. Without them, what would I be? The Buddha smiled gently, his gaze steady and unwavering. You are not your possessions, traveler. Your essence is not found in what you hold but in what you release. The merchant's hands trembled as he picked up a small trinket, a symbol of his attachment. How can I let go, he asked, when these things have defined my life, my identity? The Buddha leaned forward slightly, his voice filled with quiet authority. Weakness is a story you tell yourself, he said. Every being has within them the potential for stillness, Buddha said. It is not reserved for the strong or the wise, like the sun and moon. Your nature is to shine, to reflect truth and light when you cease to doubt yourself. The disciple felt tears well in his eyes, a sense of hope beginning to take root where despair had once flourished. Master, he whispered, how can I begin this journey toward stillness when I feel so lost, so far from myself? The Buddha gestured to the forest around them. Each tree grew from a single seed, planted in darkness yet reaching for light. Begin with a single step, Buddha advised. Turn inward and observe without judgment. Let each moment guide you closer to peace. How can I release these? The Buddha turned to Kavi, his eyes filled with infinite compassion. Pain and loss, he said, are like shadows. Master, the disciple said, I feel a glimpse of the stillness you speak of. It is faint, but it is there. The Buddha nodded, his smile serene. Even the faintest light dispels darkness. So must your mindfulness be. Kavi bowed again, his voice trembling with gratitude. Thank you, Master. Your words are like a balm to my troubled heart. A disciple approached, his hands holding fragments of a broken pot, his face shadowed with grief and the weight of loss. Master, he said, kneeling, this pot was dear to me. Its beauty brought me joy. And now it lies shattered. The Buddha gestured for the disciple to sit, his gaze fixed on the flowing river, its waters moving in eternal rhythm. Look at the river, Buddha said softly. Its waters flow ceaselessly, changing with each moment, never the same as before. How can I free myself from them? The Buddha turned to me, his eyes like twin mirrors reflecting my innermost thoughts. Expectations, he said, are like chains. It moves, it changes, and to resist its flow is to invite suffering. The disciple lowered his head, tears falling onto the broken pieces. But Master, how do I release the pain of loss? The Buddha picked up a pebble and dropped it into the river, watching the ripples spread and fade into calmness. Loss is not the end, Buddha said. It is a moment in the endless flow of life, teaching us impermanence. Master, the disciple asked, why must we cherish things if they are destined to break, fade, or disappear from our lives? The Buddha smiled gently, picking up a flower blooming near the riverbank. The forest seemed to grow quieter, as though the very earth held its breath, bearing witness to the wisdom unfolding in our midst. The merchant, now calmer, stood and bowed deeply before the Buddha. Wise one, he said, I will strive to release my attachments and walk lighter on this path you have shown me. The Buddha nodded, his expression serene yet resolute. Each step you take toward freedom, he said, is a step toward peace. Begin now, for the journey is yours alone. The merchant gathered his belongings, lighter now both in weight and in spirit, and continued on his way, his steps steadier than before. The disciples, too, seemed transformed, their hearts touched by the simplicity and profundity of the Buddha's words. The disciple gazed at the flower, its fragility and splendor awakening a quiet realization within him, softening his grief gradually. But Master, the disciple asked, how can I move forward when what I have lost feels like a piece of my soul? The Buddha pointed to the river again, his voice steady. The path ahead seemed endless, winding through the trees, yet it felt lighter, as though the burdens we carried had begun to dissolve. I realized then that the journey was not just through the forest but through the landscapes of our own hearts, a journey toward freedom and peace. It shapes you, nourishes you, and becomes part of your journey forward. The disciple stared at the water, its gentle ripples reflecting the sky above, feeling a strange sense of peace stirring within. Master, he whispered, how do I embrace impermanence without fearing that everything I love will one day leave me? The Buddha leaned closer, his presence grounding the disciple. Love without attachment, he said. Cherish deeply but release gracefully when the time comes. Impermanence is not a curse, Buddha said. But Master, I asked, how do we keep this lamp burning when doubt and fear threaten to extinguish it? The Buddha gestured toward the sun as it rose, its rays casting light upon the village rooftops and glimmering streams. Shield your lamp, he said, with mindfulness and purpose. Master, he said, I think I understand now. The beauty of life lies not in permanence but in its transient nature. The Buddha smiled, his gaze filled with quiet wisdom. You have begun to see the truth, he said. Let it guide you. As the sun set, the disciple sat beside the Buddha, the broken pot forgotten, his heart lighter, his spirit calmed. The river flowed endlessly, a reflection of the impermanence that binds all beings to the rhythm of existence itself. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.